Good morning. Helloers. Come say hi. I hope you're having a lovely Sunday morning or Saturday night, wherever in the world you may be. Drop me a hi if you're watching, if you're joining. I got here to my usual spot. Hey Claire, hey Liz, hey John. Got here to my usual spot and I was like, yesterday I was really clear about what I was going to talk. I was going to talk about single parenting, right, and the truth about it, and the kind of thoughts and feelings that, the things that go through my head and the things I feel as a single mum. I was going to talk about that. But then when I got here, I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling that. Not really feeling it. Hey, Amy. Hey, Jenny. Hey, Carol. So I thought I'd talk about the law of assumption because it's a really powerful law and it's one that I've been using a lot in my life in the last 12 months. And it has helped me transform my self-concept. Hey, Lucia. Right? It's helped me transform my self-concept. And for a long time, I was kind of following it without really knowing I was following it. And so you've probably heard me talk a lot about seeing people through the eyes of love. But today I want to talk to you about how to change your self-concept through the law of assumption. Okay. So Neville Goddard talks about the law of assumption in a very simplified way. Yeah. So he explains it that in your reality, nobody has free will, right? And there's a lot of people who talk about free will, but and yes, everyone has free will, but in your reality, no one has free will. In your reality, people show up in the way that you perceive them, in the way that you assume they're going to show up. Okay, so let's think about a specific person. Let's say you've got an uncle who always drinks out of control at family events, and he always eventually, gets angry. Okay? This is a far out example. He always gets angry. So before you go to your family barbecue, let's say he's been showing up like that for years. Before you go to your family barbecue, you already know that that's what you're going to expect from him. Okay, so you're assuming, again, unconsciously, it's probably unconscious, right? You're assuming again that that's how he's going to show up. Okay, and you know what? That's how he shows up, and he goes through the same process every day, every family event. He drinks to a point of no return, and then he gets angry, and everyone has to witness it. Okay, so now let's say you have a really great relationship with your mum. Okay. Hey, Chris. Hey, Michelle. Yes, John, it's summer here. It's really, really warm here. It's not that warm today, but it's still warm. So let's say you have a great relationship with your mum, and you've always had a great relationship with your mum, and no matter what's happened in your life, your mum's always been there. And even if you've behaved in ways that have not been pleasant, she's just always there. She's always loving and she always forgives you and she's always there, right? So you perceive her in positive light, okay? And you never change that perception of her. You know what you're going to expect with her again. You assume every time you see her unconsciously that she's going to keep showing up in the same way, right? And if you notice she has a shitty day, you're just like, oh, she must just be having a shitty day. And you go back, you don't change the way you perceive her. You don't change your assumption of her, right? And so she continues to show up in your reality the way you're assuming her to be. Loving, nurturing, caring, okay? So that's the law of assumption. Now, if we think about the law of attraction, you create your reality, you attract what you are, right? I talk a lot about this in my work with my clients, that it's all energy. We attract people the way we are. People are reflections of us. They're mirrors. And sometimes the mirror is not so clear. Sometimes someone comes in, let's say the angry uncle, Sometimes someone who comes in who's angry or arrogant is not reflecting back to you your own anger or arrogance. If you're like, yeah, I don't resonate with that because I'm not angry. I'm not an arrogant person. If we look deeper into that, right, what is the quality that they embody to make them be like that, right? I mean, deep down, if we go deeper, there's pain there. But there's also a level of confidence, right, that someone has to portray to be arrogant or angry or whatever it is. And so sometimes that's the mirror. Sometimes the mirror is, oh, I need to be more confident, right? Does it make sense to everyone? So you got to look at the mirror. Other times it's if someone's attacking you, sometimes the mirror is, oh, I don't have strong enough boundaries with this person. I need to improve my boundaries. So you got to really, really think about what the mirror is. Okay? Hey, Courtney. Hey, Hillary. Hey, Willow. So, again, coming back to the law of assumption. In your reality, no one has free will. And I invite you to practice this on people that you don't have an emotional attachment to, or there hasn't been chaos between you. Because if you can practice it on someone you don't have an emotional attachment to, it's going to work a lot easier because it's more believable. Okay? So, for example, let's say you go to the coffee shop and the person who serves you has a bit of an attitude, right? Or they seem nice to everyone else, but for whatever reason, they're not nice to you. Or they're dismissive with you, or they don't look at you in the eyes, or they don't smile at you, right? Something like that. So what I want you to do, because that is a reflection of your self-concept, okay? Now, if you go deep, if you look deep within, if that person's nice to everyone else and smiling at everyone, but when it comes to you, they ignore you, right? That's where I go, okay, why are they showing up in my reality like that? Oh, it's because my whole life I felt disregarded. So that person's teaching me that my self-concept needs improving, that I still have that element of disregard within me. Okay, so I need to go within and look at that. Do I still believe that I'm disregarded? Is that wound still open and oozing out? Because if it's oozing out into my energy, I'm going to attract that to show me that I still feel disregarded, that that energy is still present. So when they say in the law of attraction, you attract what you are, they're talking about your energy, that you attract who you are. They're talking about your energy, okay? And sometimes these people come in to reflect back to us where our energy is misaligned. And often it's unconscious, right? And this is where we have to, instead of being the victim and reacting and going, they're not nice to me, but they're nice to everyone else, that's where you got to go, what's this reflecting back to me? Oh, yeah, I do feel disregarded. Okay, so how am I disregarding myself? Well, I'm not healing my inner child. I'm not giving myself that attention or that validation that I seek, that I want, that I desire. My inner child is still yearning for that validation. My inner child still wants to be acknowledged. Okay, so I'm going to go within and do that, right? And I'm going to affirm to myself that I am important. I'm seen. I'm respected. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff that's attached to that disregard, right? I'm not special enough. Nobody notices me. I'm not seen. No one understands me. There's a whole bunch of things that could be, and it could be different for everyone, right? So I'll be affirming, I am special. I deserve to be seen. I deserve to be treated with respect. Okay? And this is how we improve our self-concept. Now, as you begin to heal that energetic misalignment, I'm going to call it, okay? As you begin to heal it, it will be reflected back to you from your outside reality, okay? So the other thing you do as you're working through that self-concept, because you want to be unshakable, you want to have this confidence about you, okay? This is how you magnetically draw everything you want. Your self-concept has to be on point, and we're always working on it, right? We're always working on it. But the better your self-concept is, yeah, the more you magnetically attract everything that you want, because your energy will be on fire. You'll be like, I'm strong, I'm special, I deserve love, I deserve an abundance of money, I deserve whatever, attention, whatever you want. When you ooze that belief out of you, guess what happens? You attract it, yeah? Comes, and it will come in unexpected ways. So, whatever you believe, you get. This is how the law of assumption works. If you believe you're always going to be disregarded, if you believe people are always going to abandon you, if you believe you can't find love, if you believe there's no one out there to make you happy, guess what? That's what you're going to attract. That's the reality you're going to attract. If you believe there's no other awake, soul-centered people out there, you're not going to find them. Okay? You're not. So you have to change your self-concept, and you have to clean up your thoughts. Okay? And last year I ran this program called The Observer, and that's exactly what we did. We focused on the law of assumption, right? And it was really powerful, because what everyone had to do is they had to flip their belief system inside out. They had to flip their thoughts inside out. They had to really catch the negative things they were thinking and flip them around, and the negative things they were saying. So whatever we say, our words are like magic. So you have to be really careful about how you talk. I have no money. My money's running out. Even if it is, don't say it, because you're manifesting more of it. If you think it, you're manifesting more of it, right? So it's really, really hard to transform your mindset if you have victim mentality programs running. And we all do, right? But as the adult, as the empowered adult that you are, you have to work on it every day. So back to the law of assumption. No one has free will in my reality, which means however I perceive them to be, whatever I assume of them is how they will show up in my reality. So let's go for another example here. Let me think of a good one. Okay, so you know when you get into a new relationship and everything's amazing, right? You meet someone amazing and you're like, oh my God, who is this person? Where have they been my whole life? And everything starts off great, right? And you tell your friends, oh, I met someone amazing and it's great and it's going great. And there's consistency in the relationship or the connection, and you're consistently dating, consistently communicating. And then something changes. Okay, something changes. And you say to them, what's wrong? And they're like, nothing. What do you mean, what's wrong? And then it turns into a bit of awkwardness. Now, what's happening here is, let's say you have a belief that none of your relationships last, or that's been your experience in the past, that people come in hard and fast, they're strong, like the relationship is strong, and then it goes pear-shaped. And you're like, this has been my experience in relationships over and over again. Or you have a belief, you have an abandonment wound, and you believe people are going to abandon you. In that minute that something has changed in the relationship, right? Rather than going within and going, what's changed within my energy? What's changed in my thoughts? What's changed with my self-concept? We project it outwards. We're like, oh, there's something wrong. They're losing interest. Oh my God, they're losing interest in me already. It's only been 3 months. So they're already losing interest. And we start going into the stories of the past. Oh no, this is what's going to happen. What happened last time is going to happen here. Now we're projecting. Okay? And we forget that we create our own reality, that no one has free will in our reality. So what we have to do in those moments is we have to come back to ourselves. And often when we get into connections with others, naturally we self-abandon a bit because the connection's so good. We want to spend a lot of time with them. We want to do all this stuff with them, right? And so what's important is you come back to yourself. Often there's nothing wrong. Often it's just we've had this high and we're just coming down again. And we want a bit of space. The other person wants a bit of space, or they're having a rough time at work and they haven't told you. Or there's often usually nothing wrong. So this is where we need to come back to ourselves. In the law of assumption, we come back to ourselves and we say, what's out of alignment here within me? Because remember, they're your mirror. But we slip so easily into victim mentality. Oh no, something's wrong, something bad's going to happen, it's going to end. Got to come back here and go, okay, how can I bring my energy back to me? Where have I neglected myself? Where have I abandoned myself? I'm going to give to that part of me right now. And what will happen is that person will come back in, because that person was attracted to you when you were in alignment in the first place. That person was attracted to you because you were projecting a positive outlook onto them. You were seeing them as their best self, and they loved that. When you see someone as their best self, energetically they feel that. They're like, wow, this chick's really into me, right? This guy's really into me. He thinks I'm amazing. And then when you don't see them in that light anymore, they start to feel it. And then you start to question them. Why are you pulling away? And they're like, I'm not pulling away. And then they're like, she's crazy. She thinks I'm pulling away when I'm not. Because it's you who has changed your perception of them. And I know this is really, it might be really hard to understand or get your head around, because we're so quick to project our negative stuff onto the other person when really it's us. So this is the law of assumption. The law of assumption, you take responsibility for everything that shows up in your reality and how you behave around it. And yes, there's some things that we can't control that are happening in the world, but we can control what we let into our reality and how it affects us. Okay? Am I going to be a victim to this? Or am I going to thrive through this? Or can I use this opportunity to grow? Okay? So any questions around that? So as you begin to, when you see, so back to the law of assumption, right? When you see people as their best self, they're going to show up as their best self. When you focus on their positive qualities, they're going to show up as in their positive state. They're going to show those positive qualities to you. When you focus on people's negative qualities, like the uncle, he's going to show up as his negative qualities. So your partner, the person you're dating, whatever, when you start to notice their absence or they're pulling away, that will grow and they will continue to pull away more and more, because that's what you're projecting onto them. It's almost like you're instructing them on how you want them to behave. Yeah, you're saying you keep pulling away because I'm going to project that energy onto you and you're going to reflect it back to me, and then I can go back into my abandonment wound and I can be the victim of my own story, and I can say, see, it happened again. Everyone abandons me, right? And here we are, the creators of our own reality, projecting our own pain onto people so they can reflect it back to us so we can stay stuck. So that's how it works. So there's a really powerful opportunity here for you to use this law in all of your experiences to learn how to have a more powerful self-concept and how to have a more aligned energy field. So everyone that triggers you is your teacher. Everyone is your mirror, right? And when you use this concept, what will happen is when you really own it and you're like, okay, how am I responsible for this? When you really do it, and I know it's really, really hard, but when you do it, what will begin to happen is you'll begin to be like, you know what, that's a shitty thought, gone, zoom. That's a shitty feeling, I'm done with that. That's a shitty thought. No, I'm not thinking that about myself anymore. I do deserve love, right? I do deserve good things to happen to me. This is some of the things that I think. I'm like, I do so much, I put so much love and I give out so much good vibes in the world. I deserve good things. right? I deserve good things to happen to me. Good things are always happening to me all the time. I expect good things to happen to me. Love finds me in surprising in ways. Income streams find me in surprising ways. Whatever it is you want. So when that negative thought comes, you're not good enough. Bullshit. Out. Get out of my head. That is not the truth. That's just the old program. That's just the old wound that's come. And, you know, I spend a lot of time talking to my inner child. Well, not a lot of time, but I consistently do it every day. If an emotion of self-worth, lack of self-worth, or not feeling special comes up, or disregard, then I tune in. And I'm like, hey, what's this about? Let's talk about it. Let's work through it. Yeah? It's just that younger part of you wanting some attention, wanting some love, wanting some nurturing. And it happens. Sometimes people ignore you. So again, I go in. So I don't let myself get away with nothing. I'm always checking in on my own behaviour, how I'm showing up, how that's affecting other people, how I'm projecting. It makes you a nicer person. Because sometimes unconsciously we show up in ways where we're not nice to people because they've hurt us. So it makes you a nicer person. You become easier to be around. You have more positive thoughts. And then, you know what? When your energy's aligned, more good things happen to you. You meet more beautiful people like you. There's more space in your life to experience the present moment. And when you're free to experience the present moment, it's powerful. That's where the magic is at. It's here in the present moment, not in thinking about the pain of the past or how am I going to be in the future. Right here. This is where you manifest. This is where you become the alchemist, the magician. Yeah. This is where you see everything as an opportunity. I'm glad, Carol. You're welcome. Hey, Ellie. Hey, Crystal. So it is really powerful. It's really, really powerful. I love exploring this. I'm going to be exploring it a lot more this year and creating a new program around it. So I'm really, really excited about it. Part 2 of The Observer, I think I'm gonna call it. When you wake up from the spell that you've been in, or the slumber that you have been in, that your programs have put you in, you realize just how powerful you are. You break out of that mold, you will find freedom. But it has to be consistent. And you know what? There are times where we fall into the victim. And there are times where we're going to drop into our wounds to clear them and process them and release emotions. And sometimes you just got to allow yourself to do that. Give yourself permission to feel the pain, to release it once and for all. Right? And that's okay. But also you just got to keep getting up and supporting yourself to get back on the path of the observer. So the reason why I call this program The Observer is because when you move through life observing, you start becoming the student. When you stop reacting to what the TV's telling you and what you're witnessing on the street and how your husband or your wife are talking to you in a negative way or whatever, when you start observing, then you can start learning. What's that reflecting to me? I need to tell my wife that I don't like the way she's talking to me. Or I'm going to practice projecting onto her, showing up in a really kind, soft and loving way to me because I deserve respect. Right? So I would do that first. And you know what usually happens? The wife will come and say, sorry. Hey, I noticed I spoke to you a bit abruptly. I'm really sorry about that. That's what happens. Because when you respond, or you respond in a powerful way, and sometimes we do have to say something. Sometimes we haven't got it all down pat yet because we're emotionally connected to this person. So sometimes we have to set that boundary and say, hey, you sound really upset. Is everything okay with you right now? Rather than going, attacking back and going, why are you talking to me like that? You're being really rude. You're da 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 da. When you observe, you don't react. You go, she seems really upset. I'm going to ask her what's going on for her right now. It takes a highly conscious, self-aware person to be able to do that. Right? To be able to go, oh, she's upset. I'm going to ask her if she's okay. Now, what you do in that moment, when you ask someone, hey, are you okay? What's going on? You sound really upset. You're holding a mirror up to them. You're saying, I don't like your behavior, or your behavior's not very nice towards me. And it interrupts them. But the minute you react, it's game on. Fireworks between you, right? Explosions. And it doesn't benefit anyone. So until you master the law of assumption, set powerful boundaries like that. Boundaries don't have to be, I don't like the way you're talking to me. I'm not going to tolerate it. That's not boundaries. Boundaries is asking questions. That's the first step, right? It's kind of like the gentle way to do it. You sound really angry right now. Is everything okay? And if that doesn't work, then you say, is there a reason why you're talking to me like that? Because I'm feeling quite, it's quite harsh, right? That's another boundary. But you're still doing it in a really soft way. Yeah, and then if that doesn't work, then you go in a bit stronger. It really hurts me when you speak to me like that. I'm going to leave now and I'll come back later, right? But again, when there's deep emotional entanglement with someone, it is harder to practice the law of assumption, but it can be done. And it can be done with the person who has even been the harshest towards you. It can be done with the person who you've had the biggest, wounds with. Let's say with mother, you've had a chaotic relationship with mother. The more you heal your mother wound and project her to show up in positive light, that's how she'll show up. Yeah? And this is such a powerful thing. Our lens, the way we see the world, even with that. Do you see life as easy or hard? So it's important to clean your lens, to look at how, Wayne Dyer, he said, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. So anyway, I think I've rambled enough this morning. Yeah. Hey, Jolene. So if you want to know more about the law of assumption, if this has helped and you want me to talk more about the law of assumption or more about a specific topic around the law of assumption, just drop me a comment below and I'll do the next live about it. But I'm sending you guys lots of love. And practice it. Practice it with someone you have no emotional entanglement with, right? And notice where you are being triggered. Oh, well, what's that making me feel? It's making me feel like I'm not special. Oh, I've got to work on that. How can I make myself feel special, right? And you keep doing that and you keep doing that. And then you project that person. If you're going to see them again, you project them showing up, seeing you. Okay. All right, guys, have a beautiful rest of your day or night, and I'll see you next time.